You have questions, we have answers. This is Jay Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Returning with us today as our guest, we have Mayor Dr. Philip Kramer of Franklin Township. Mayor, big welcome to our show again, and thanks for returning on this Sunday morning to be our guest.
Really happy to be here.
Yeah, well, it's our pleasure. And last week's show, you were kind enough to bring in Allie O'Brien from the Franklin Township Food Bank to talk about all the important need for donations and support for that for the 3,600 families in need in Franklin Township. So we spend most of that show talking about that all-important cause. So I want to use this show to talk about your journey as a mayor and some of the accomplishments you've done in your 10 years as the mayor. So to start with, how did you go from being a doctor, neurologist, to mayor of Franklin Township since 2015?
It was back in 2003. I was noticed that my taxes had been going up. I had moved in 98, and every year my taxes went up $1,000. And then I saw a sign, "Your taxes too high, call so-and-so." I wound up getting involved with that, with a group called TUF, Taxpayers United in Franklin, and with Chip Hoover. And I just started going to council meetings. And eventually I got involved with the party, ran for council, and after 6 years on council, I ran for mayor.
Mm-hmm. I never looked back, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Franklin Township is not a small town. It's about approximately 70,000 residents. What do you draw from your skills and life experiences? You have a very commendable resume. So what did you draw from your time in the military? What gave you the leadership skills to enable you to be successful as mayor?
I was in the military as a pilot. I have an engineering degree, and I use those every day. The engineering degree has taught me the math and the way to analyze, especially things like the budget. And the B-52 and being a doctor tells you about how to prioritize things, and when there's an emergency, how to focus on that and not move too quickly because you can make a mistake. So I use that. I use the things I've learned and the personality things I learned from it every day.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So let's talk about the taxes that motivated you to run for the council and then ultimately get elected the mayor. I read in your background that you were successful in decreasing the taxes in Franklin Township. How was this possible with everybody facing rising taxes, and you were actually able to push back the tide, so to speak?
I've got to give a caveat before that. When I ran for after being on 8 years for my third term, this term, by the time I reached that, people were actually paying less municipal tax, dollars less, not adjusted dollars, not anything else. It was actually less dollars, and like $5 less. Not a huge amount, but still over 8 years, they were paying less. Since that time, we had, because of medical insurance, went up $2.5 million 2 years ago and another $1 million this year. We have had to increase what we're asking for from the taxpayer. Plus, this year, people's tax bills have gone up, not because of what we did. We only raised our taxes 2.6%, what we asked for the homeowner, but because of the assessments changing, moving the tax burden from business to residential, and because the school board, you had mentioned last week that the state is forcing the school boards to increase their taxes, and because the state is paying for the school less than the taxes. So the school board went up 10%, and that's 2/3 of your taxes. and the assessments had a huge effect on taxes. But with all that said, how have we been able to hold our taxes down so that we used to be 16% of the tax. We're now 13.5% of the tax. A lot of numbers. Sorry, I'm an engineer and I'm a nerd.
No.
But I'm a tax nerd, and what I'm saying is we've been able to hold things down just basically through constantly looking for innovative ways to do things. For instance, I was talking about the health insurance. Because it was going up, we went from standard health insurance through a regular insurance company to being self-insured. And we've saved hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing that. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars of saving to the taxpayer. So we're always looking for ways to do better. And I've got a great staff. I have a great manager, great department heads, and they understand that what the dollar means. So it's just, there's no one thing that did it for us.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I think with the schools, a lot of schools in New Jersey faced a similar problem in that the state funding got reduced based on revisions to the funding formula, and then that ultimately forced some money coming in from the townships. So that's something that's unavoidable, I think, is what you were alluding to with this school. And then with of course with the rising costs of health insurance and medical, that's something that hits the budget. There's nothing much you can do about it, but that was smart that you went to a self-funding method to try to counteract that rise.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, Mayor. A lot of time, right, it's easier for the resident to get all upset. Said, I received my bill, and they voice on the, social media. Oh, my bill go up so much. What Township's doing. Actually, if you read into it, like the number, you realize Township have very small amount to work with. Majority of the around two-thirds, depend. Yeah, the money went to the school. And last year and this year, the state give much less money to the school funding. So where the money come from, right? Well, the inflation is here. The very ever rise the insurance and everything else. How the school going to manage, right? And the school have to, if all the residents said, I don't want you to cut the program, I want everything, okay? And where the money going to come from? So you have to make a choice, right? Either you cut the program, have to let a lot of great teacher go, or you keep if your education is so important, you want to keep that. Like our daughter, right? They want the kids have the same education or better. Yeah. So another thing, somebody have to pay. So unfortunately, the property tax will increase. But that increase doesn't go to the mayor pocket or mayor control. I think go back to school.
And I think what you were saying too, also, Mayor, is that the portion that goes to the town, you were successful in reducing the township's allocation from like 16% down to 13%. So you're actually taking a percentage less. You reduce it, but the taxes went up due to the rising costs for the medical, also for the assessment. So if the house is assessed at more, then of course they're going to pay more property tax. So those were two of the driving factors, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So we're 13.5%. That means that if your taxes were $10,000, then you pay $1,350 to the town. If the town cut its spending by 10%, it would save you $135. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge part of your taxes. So we can't fix taxes. What I've said 100 times, 1,000 times, property taxes are a stupid way to fund our schools. Mm-hmm. It's purely stupid, and that's why our council wrote to our state legislators that they need to do something. They need to change it. It actually requires a New Jersey Constitution amendment to change it. So it's very difficult to change, but they need to change that. And Assemblyman Danielson has picked up on that, and he's starting legislation to do the studies that are needed to get that done.
Interesting. What kind of, if I may ask, what would be the alternative to getting to funding the schools that's in the works, or is that something you don't want to?
No, I'll go right out there. I don't care. I've said it already. The people with the means to pay should be the people who pay a little more. As we've mentioned, I'm a doctor. I have the means to pay. It's fine with me if my taxes increase so that someone who's they've got a home, they're holding it together, they're, maybe even going to the food bank because they just making ends meet, they should pay less. So what I'm saying is an income tax. Instead of a property tax, not adding an income tax, I'm getting rid of a property tax and replacing it with an income tax.
Yeah. Mayor, I actually, when I was young, I went to Australia first. So I had my education there, working there for many years. So in Australia, right, the property tax is very little. It's why? Because that's only for the town. So anything else, the health insurance and also the school, it belongs to the state and the federal. It's not the local. Because, the property, when I own a home there, the property tax is so little. It's just pretty much like your 13 or 16% of your paying, because that's what for the township to function.
Well, you don't have to go to Australia to find that. You can find that in Maryland.
States, right? That's what I was going to say. Other states in the country.
I think New York is right.
Even New York State has a lower. I think New Jersey and maybe California have the highest property taxes in the country.
Yeah.
My sister has a home in Brooklyn Heights, and it's worth a lot more than my home is. She pays a lot less in property tax.
Interesting. Yeah, Brooklyn Heights is a beautiful area. For sure, it's worth a lot of money there. But that's interesting. Yeah, that's one thing we've wrestled with New Jersey. A lot of people think that the misconception is that the property taxes are all going in the township's pocket, which is couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yes.
Based on what as our discussion. So that's something that would be great if there's another way to
relook at it. I mean, nobody knows which way is the better, but at least the good option, good alternative to look into it. So, I mean, up on the tree should consider all the options. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes with the legislature if it gets to the floor and they get it. I guess they vote on it, then it has to go to the state senate, and then it would be up to the governor to.
The thing about an income tax is if you retire or you lose your job and your income goes down, then your taxes go down.
Right.
This way, just because your house got assessed for more doesn't mean you have more money to spend.
Yeah. I never thought about that way.
That's true,
it's
right?
true.
And you're not forced to move out of your house if you're living because that's facing a lot of New Jersey residents now. That's why a lot of them, when they retire, they're moving out of the state because it's become
they
unaffordable.
move out of their house. They bring more kids into the town because younger people move in, and that increases your school tax.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we're facing in our town. Is a lot of young family move in. And a lot of senior family moving out of the town and either close to the family or move to the warmer area. So, then
the schools, they have issues with the school system and having the capacity, and then needing to do the renovations and things. That's a whole other
other show.
Other topic, right. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. We're joined today with Mayor Kramer of Franklin Township. So, Mayor, let's switch topics. And Franklin Township has a very diverse population among its 70,000 residents. How would you describe the sense of community spirit in Franklin Township with all the different cultures living there?
Super. I go door to door. I went door to door in October a lot because of the upcoming election at that time. And first thing I ask, I don't try selling the candidate I'm selling. First thing I ask, because it's the thing I'm most interested in, is how do you like it here? and people like it here, and they will frequently bring up, "I like the diversity." That they're not just seeing people who look like them; they see people who look other ways, and we promote that partially because our council is diverse. Last time I ran, we had myself as a Jewish person, we had a Catholic, we had a Hindu, and we had a Muslim. 4 of us running, all of us as different religions. And I didn't even realize the person who was Hindu was Hindu. I never thought about what they were.
Sure.
And where do you find that in other places? Not too many places. So people like the diversity, and having diverse people on council, we have a Diwali celebration. We celebrate Black History Month. So all of these things get tied in. There's other communities out there. I wish they would come to us and say, "Hey, why aren't you having an XYZ month?" And I would say, "Great, let's do it."
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live in East Brunswick, and that's similar to Franklin. The population isn't quite as large, but we had a Diwali celebration. They have they recognize Eve for the Muslim holiday.
Yep.
Of course, the Christian and Jewish holidays. So we have a quite diversified community too, and I think that's great. It makes you get to celebrate. You get to celebrate more parties and partake in more festivals. So that's a great thing, right?
I once heard on a radio show, "Diversity is delicious."
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, in Franklin Township, you've been involved in some environmental initiatives with solar, green vehicles, open space. Talk about the solar program and the green vehicles.
So we have a number of cars that we buy each year when we need to replace them. We've been going to an electric fleet. We use it for some of the non-patrol police things. We use it for our building inspectors, etc. We have solar in many of our facilities, but we also, for the citizen, have promoted something called community solar, which is someone builds a large building, they put solar panels on it, and I don't know the exact details of it, but they get the energy and SRECs, and the citizens save in that or participate in that savings, and it can reduce your electric bill by 20%. Now, we only get these offerings every once in a while, but generally what they do is they send out a letter that I sign letting people know this is legit. Then there's energy aggregation that we're trying to participate in, where we say we incorporate people in the town. You are part of a group, and that group then has bargaining power. And we are trying to look for a setup where we're buying power from companies that are cleaner than what the state requires, but we also save 5% below what the market value is, because the grid is set up in such a way you can buy power from someone in California. Mm-hmm. Those electrons may never get here, but the way the system works, they're trading at a higher level, and because we're looking for that, but we're demanding high costs. I mean, a high value in that it's clean and that it's a savings. So we have to really keep looking at the market. The other thing is open space. We're buying more and more open space to keep green here, to keep buildings from coming in, more buildings, more cars, etc. So by just letting nature stay here and stay green, we're cleaner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how much roughly is Franklin Township saving by implementing the solar panels? That's probably significant, right? Or they're
I don't have a number on that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
It's a good question.
but it's I'm sure it's definitely makes an impact on it.
It's not only the dollar. It's
but also
dollar
the
is one thing.
thing-
It's really we protect the environment. That's very important.
Yeah.
So you get a saving and then you protect the environment. Like
You're not draining the
yeah,
resources. You're
yeah.
using the sun's energy to power.
you get one free
Right,
kind of.
right.
Yeah.
And then you have a bunch of charging stations set up in the town for
Yes.
the inspector vehicles and things. Yeah, that's something cool to see around towns now. You see the electric charging stations.
The charger only for the township to use, or other people can use
So
too?
we have, in the municipal parking lot, we have 2 chargers for general public use. When we introduced them a few years ago, for the first 2 years, it was free. It didn't cost us much, but people, this is when electric vehicles were just kind of getting
Yeah.
introduced.
Yeah.
And they were, people were very happy to use those chargers. We now charge, we don't make any profit off of it. We just charge what it costs us. They're being used a little bit less now that it's not free, but that is something we encourage. The other thing when it comes to the environment is something that we passed just a couple of Tuesdays ago, a couple of council meetings ago, was a ordinance that does not allow a company, a facility to generate its own power. It's got to get its power from the grid. And this is because if you just Google AI facilities generators, and you will find that there's these huge facilities going in that are housing AI that uses an enormous amount of power, so much that they can't get it from the grid. So they have acres of diesel generators running.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what I heard about AI. Is that's one of the negative things about AI. They use so much power that it drains. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tremendous. Like the mayor
They
said.
use water too, right? Water,
They use
a lot of water.
water for cooling.
Water for cooling, and then
Yeah.
the power to
And
generate.
the place in Pennsylvania, they bought 750 acres so they can drill all those wells, and they're worried about what the water table is going to do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I don't know if Franklin has the setup that they would want, but it only takes one technological change, and Franklin might be ideal for what they want. So we got ahead of this, and I think we're the first in the state, as far as we can tell, the first in the state to set up a regulation like this. Now that it's passed, I'm going to start going to every town that borders us to tell them you need to adopt this. And then I hope they'll go to every town that borders them. and then I hope the legislature will catch on and help with this.
Yeah. That's something. Yeah, AI is part of life now, but it has the negative impacts like that. Like the mayor said, also with schools and education, you have to use it in a useful way, but not as a substitute for critical thinking. So,
But at the end of the day, you like it or
you're not-
not, it's coming.
Yeah.
So, you have to figure it out how the best way to manage it. If you know it's coming,
right.
You can't stop it. So you may well, just like the mayor said, get ahead of it.
right. So that's pretty cool that you guys passed that. That's something that a lot of towns will follow you, hopefully.
The irony of it is, in order to write it, I used ChatGPT.
I tell you, I think in the future, a lot of, obviously the creative writer is still there, but a lot of average writer would be gone. And a lot of secretary job may be gone.
Yeah.
Because, like I'm on the road, right? And if I want suddenly you call me, say when it's closing, I would call my office, say, hey, Can you check the commitment due date? Can you check the date? Whatever. Now you can just push a button. In the near future, you can push a button and said AI.
Even
when's that file closing?
Even
whatever.
the emails. When I have a chain of emails, I look at the top, and for whatever reason, it summarizes the chain. I didn't ask it to do it, but somehow in the Gmail, it does that automatically. If I have like 2 or 3 or 4 emails in a chain, it'll summarize. Jane sent an email asking for the closing date. The lawyer responded, "We're still waiting for the clear to close." The buyers, they'll summarize like the whole chain.
You didn't even ask for it.
I didn't
They
ask
just
for it.
gave
I
you.
don't know if it happens on your email too, but on mine, it just appears. It pops up on the top of the screen as a summary of a synopsis of the important bullet points of the whole chain. It could be a chain of 4 emails or 10 emails. It'll just summarize them. And the other thing we should
I still go back to read the email.
Yeah,
How
no,
do I know
of course.
they're right?
We should run through ChatGPT and ask it, is AI a good thing with the AI facility generators and all the pollution you guys are doing? Ask ChatGPT to give an answer, right?
I still go back to the scientists.
Yeah, no, of course, right. So talking about the green, let's roll into the township's parks and recreation programs. Please, Mayor, if you don't mind, share with us some of the high-quality facilities that the Franklin Township offers to its residents, the parks and the skating park and pickleball, that good stuff.
Well, we have 2 premier parks in town. One is ours, and that's the Middlebush Park. It's got 2 turf fields. I believe it has basketball. I know it has a softball field. It has a pavilion, has an exercise facility. There's fields for soccer. And it's extremely heavily used. It does have a skateboard park. There was one built a while ago that the materials didn't last, so this is now one with lasting materials, and it is also quite popular. The other premier park in town is not ours. It's Colonial Park by the county. It's one of their premier parks, and we're lucky enough to have it in town. We're also currently on the edge of building Catalpa Park, which was an issue for the first time I ran for mayor. So in 2015, it was an issue as to how big it should be built again. It should be built, and DEP slowed it down, dragged it out. So now we finally have all our approvals, and there's discussion about how big it should be. But it might contain 2 cricket courts, a community garden, a playground, 4 pickleball courts. I believe there's basketball there and a few other things. So we're looking forward to that. We have many parks in town, a lot of them with pickleball. We're Castleton Park, we converted some tennis courts to pickleball. Pickleball is the thing.
I was going to say, when you mentioned you converted tennis to pickleball, I didn't realize that's something
Very popular.
It's so popular now. Wow.
Well, my guess is that the first pickleball courts were by taking tennis courts and cutting them in half.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah,
I only tried once.
I haven't played, so I know the concept is somewhere between ping pong and tennis, I guess, right?
Yeah.
When I see someone coming to the mic at my age with a hand in a brace or a sling, I always think pickleball.
Oh, because they did something to the ligaments or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very, very
cricket
popular.
cricket is popular too, right?
Yes.
Especially in the communities like Franklin Township, East Brunswick, you have a cricket population. So I've never played or watched cricket, but it's probably like the equivalent of baseball here to the people that follow it. It's worldwide, right?
Yeah.
There's world tournaments between all the countries. A lot of Australia, India,
Yeah,
Pakistan.
we're used to it.
They
Yeah.
play religiously.
I think if we doubled our cricket courts, we still would have demand that we couldn't fill. And George Washington played cricket.
Really?
Oh,
If you think about it, they were British. That's where cricket started.
That's
that's
right.
interesting.
Yeah. That's right.
At Mount Vernon, they played cricket.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Between those other things he was doing at the time, right?
Yeah.
That is so neat. So we're just about out of time, Mayor. We want to thank you for being our guest again on this Sunday morning. And if you have anything you want to leave us with for Franklin, anything on the horizon, initiatives for 2026 or the rest of the year you're trying to get through or hope to?
Well, something fun.
Yeah.
It's our nation's 250th anniversary, and we have a series of events called Franklin 250. The first event is January 4th, and it's the Conference on Horseback. So right after the Princeton battle, the battle in Princeton, Washington came to Kingston, and they had a decision to make. Should they just won 2 battles. They hadn't been winning battles before. They just won 2. We're on a roll. Should we go to New Brunswick and try to take care of the British in New Brunswick, or should we rest the people and find shelter for the winter? And the guys, the soldiers, had not slept for 72 hours. So they decided to go, and they camped, I believe, in Millstone at the time. I'm not sure exactly where they camped. It turns out if they'd gone to New Brunswick, most of the soldiers were out looking for him, and the gold was there left unguarded. If they had gotten that gold, they might have been able to end the war earlier. But they also might have gotten knocked out. They could have been eliminated.
Interesting. Wow, so fun. So you mentioned January 4th, there's going to be something. Where is it going to be held at?
Kingston, New Jersey. So Kingston, the southern part of town.
Okay. All right. We'll be on the outlook for that. We're out of time once again. Thank you, Dr. Mayor Kramer, for being our guest today. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll see you next weekend. Have a great one.
Thank you.